grabbing the bag, shots are fired.
Who shoots the shots that are fired?
Michael Boatwright.
So the moment everything really goes left, it happens fast, messy, and way too real. As the bag is being grabbed, shots suddenly ring out. No hesitation, no warning, just chaos exploding in seconds. And according to everything that came out later, it was Michael Boatwright who actually pulled the trigger and fired those shots. Now, fast forward a bit, because one of the biggest turning points in this whole case came from Robert Allen, one of the 4 men involved in the 2018 killing of XXXTentacion. This guy ended up getting released in October 2023 after taking a plea deal. And not just any deal, he agreed to testify against the others. And when he started talking, he didn't just give bits and pieces, he gave the most detailed inside version of what happened in that Dodge journey that anyone had ever heard. What he said filled in gaps, exposed decisions, and honestly made everything hit even harder. Let's go back to how it all started. On June 18, 2018, Jose Dwayne Ricardo Onfroy, the artist known worldwide as XXXTentacion, walked into a Bank of America branch in South Florida and withdrew around $50,000 in cash. That's not pocket change, that's a bag that instantly puts a target on your back. He placed all that money into a Louis Vuitton bag and left, heading straight to Riva Motorsports in Deerfield Beach, Florida. He wasn't alone either. His step-uncle, Leonard Kerr, was sitting in the passenger seat of his black BMW i8. At just 20 years old, X was out there looking at motorcycles, living life, making moves, and he had no idea he wouldn't make it back out. At that same time, in a completely different lane, 4 men from Fort Lauderdale were already moving with a whole different mindset. They were riding around South Florida in a rented black Dodge Journey SUV, armed up, masked up, and basically looking for anybody they could rob. No specific target, no deep plan, just pure opportunistic energy. Those 4 were Dedrick Williams, Michael Boatwright, Trayvon Newsom, and Robert Allen himself. Most of them were 22, with Newsom being the youngest at 20, the exact same age as X. That alone already makes this whole situation feel even darker. Now, Williams, also known as Chucky, wasn't new to trouble. He had a history with charges like grand theft auto, burglary, assault, and more. He was on probation at the time and still out here moving reckless. And on that day, he was the one behind the wheel, and more importantly, the one who spotted the BMW i8. And here's where it gets wild. Williams didn't just randomly pick a car, he recognized it. He had seen X before at a probation office months earlier and remembered him. Not only that, he pulled up X's Instagram right there and matched the car in the parking lot to the one online. That's how they confirmed it was him, not by chance, but by memory and social media. That's when everything shifted. The SUV they were using had been rented the day before, and according to Robert Allen, it was Williams' idea from the start. They even used a woman named Tony Robinson to rent it because Allen was the only one with a valid license to actually drive. This wasn't some random moment, it was a setup waiting to happen. When questioned later, Allen explained that the plan wasn't even specific. He said they were just driving around looking to rob anyone they could. Uber drivers, random people, whoever looked like an easy hit. They weren't hunting X specifically, but once they saw him, everything locked in. Allen also confirmed that everyone expected to be armed. Himself had a Springfield .40 caliber handgun, Newsom had a Smith & Wesson .38 revolver, Williams had another revolver, and Boatwright had a .22 caliber rifle. This wasn't a bluff situation. These guys were fully prepared for things to go left. When they pulled up and spotted the BMW, nobody even needed to say "let's do it" out loud. It was understood. Williams told Allen and Newsom to go inside and confirm it was really him. Allen walked in, passed right by X while he was browsing with Kerr and didn't even get noticed. Meanwhile, Williams was inside buying black masks like this was just another move on the checklist. But here's the part where things almost didn't happen. Allen actually told the group it was a bad idea. He warned them straight up that he and Williams were already caught on the store's surveillance cameras. That alone should have been enough to shut everything down. For a moment, Boatwright and Newsom hesitated. Then Williams hit him with that pressure, asking if they were scared. And just like that, everything flipped again. Boatwright basically responded, "All right, we're gonna get him," and Newsom backed it up. Decision made, no turning back. Allen refused to step out. He knew he was already exposed on camera, so it came down to Boatwright and Newsom. They threw on masks and hoodies while Williams stayed behind the wheel. Then the SUV moved across the street, parked, and waited. That's when everything was about to go from a robbery to something way worse.
About that. Whose idea was it to rent the vehicle?
Dietrich.
You have to speak up nice and loud.
Dietrich.
At any point, all four of you expect to be armed with a firearm?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the purpose of having a mask or masks, plural?
So now comes the part that really shows how cold this whole thing was. Because they didn't just act on impulse, they waited. Not for a few seconds, not for a quick moment, but for 8 minutes and 35 seconds straight. Just sitting there, watching, planning, letting it build. And that entire wait was caught on surveillance cameras. During the trial, prosecutor Pascal Akil actually played that footage in complete silence for the jury. All 8 minutes and 35 seconds of it. No talking, no distractions, just pure stillness. Just to make one thing clear, this wasn't random, this wasn't rushed, this was calculated. That's what premedication looks like in real time. Then, the moment came. As XXXTentacion and Leonard Kerr walked out of the dealership and got back into the BMW, everything snapped into motion. Williams hit the gas, pulled the Dodge Journey forward, and blocked the exit completely. No escape, no space to move, nothing. Boatwright and Newsome jumped out fast, no hesitation at all. Boatwright went straight to the driver's side window, holding that rifle, aiming directly at X. At the same time, Newsome rushed in trying to snatch whatever he could. He first went for X's gold chain, but couldn't get it off. That's when he switched targets and moved around the car. He ran to the passenger side, opened the door, and grabbed the Louis Vuitton bag packed with $50,000. Just like that, the robbery itself was already done. The bag was gone. Inside the car, Kerr was being told to stay still, but instead, he ran. He took off down the road away from the car, and that decision saved his life. He made it out. Newsome came back with the bag, and at that exact moment, things should have ended there. But they didn't, because as the bag was already in their hands, shots were fired. And this part is key. According to testimony presented in court, it was Michael Boatwright who pulled the trigger. He was standing on the driver's side, meaning the shots came directly into his left side. 3 bullets entered his neck, 2 of them stayed inside his body, and 1 fragmented on impact. The damage was devastating. The bullets tore through the upper part of his left lung and even grazed his aorta. And here's what makes it even more brutal. He was unarmed. He didn't reach for anything, didn't fight back. The robbery was already over. The bag was gone. This wasn't about taking money anymore. At 4:51 p.m., he was pronounced dead at Broward Health North Hospital. And just like that, it was over. The 4 men jumped back into the Dodge Journey and took off. But even their escape wasn't clean. They ended up crashing the SUV during the getaway. Still, they managed to regroup and eventually made their way back to Robert Allen's house. Williams didn't even stay with him. He caught an Uber separately, like he was just trying to distance himself from the situation. Once they got to the house, they opened the bag. And just like that, it turned into a money split. Inside was cash, straight up. They divided it into 4 piles. Williams, Boatwright, and Newsome each took about $15,000. Allen, who stayed in the car during the actual robbery, got $5,000. And Allen even argued he didn't deserve more because he didn't do enough. That's the mindset they were in. The weapons, those stayed with Boatwright and Newsome. The Louis Vuitton bag, the bank slips, even the key fob to X's car, all of that left with them too. And while they were driving back, they checked their phones, and that's when they saw the news. X had died. Now you think that moment would hit, that reality would set in, but according to Robert Allen's testimony, it didn't land the same for everyone. He explained that while some reactions were mixed, Dedrick Williams, Chucky, didn't really care. No shock, no panic, nothing, just cold. And what happened next made everything even worse. That same day and the day after, their own phones started exposing them. Videos surfaced with Williams, Boatwright, and Newsome holding stacks of $100 bills, fanning them out, dancing like nothing had happened, like they didn't just take someone's life hours earlier. That carelessness caught up fast. Just 48 hours later, Dedrick Williams was arrested during the traffic stop in Pompano Beach. And here's the crazy part. He was still wearing the same outfit from the day of the incident. Same white tank top, same orange sandals, the exact same look seen in the surveillance footage and even his own Instagram post. He didn't even try to hide it. Boatwright got picked up on July 5th on unrelated charges and then hit with the murder warrant 5 days later while already in jail.
Allen got arrested in Georgia on July 26th after traveling there with Boatwright before splitting off. And Newsom, he was the last one, turning himself in on August 7th at his lawyer's office. All four were charged with first-degree premeditated murder and armed robbery. And the case against them, it was stacked. Cameras caught them buying masks, cameras caught them waiting, cameras caught the ambush, cameras caught the escape. What investigators needed wasn't footage anymore. They needed the inside story. Who made the decisions, who pushed it forward, and why a robbery that was already finished still ended with a 20-year-old losing his life. And that story came from Robert Allen.
As he grabbed the bag, shots are fired.
Who shoots the shots that are fired?
Michael Boatwright,
Where does he shoot him from? What side of the car?
driver.
So if XXX is in the driver's seat and Michael Boatwright is in the driver's side, the shots are coming onto XXX's left side or right side? Which side?
Yes.
So, what was in the bag?
Money.
How much?
$50,000.
Now here's where things get even more complicated, because Robert Allen wasn't innocent at all, not even close. Yeah, he said out loud before everything went down that it was a bad idea, but at the same time, he still played his part. He went inside the store and confirmed it was really XXXTentacion. He helped set up the whole rental situation. He took his cut of the money and then stayed quiet for weeks. So let's not twist it. He wasn't some bystander who just got caught up. He was involved. And the prosecutors knew that too. But instead of trying to paint him as clean, they saw something else. They saw value. Because if Allen told the full truth, every detail, every move, every decision, he could be the one to lock in 3 first-degree murder convictions. And getting that truth out of him, that took pressure. That's where a detective named John Sergio stepped in. And what happened in that interrogation room in Broward County, that's where everything started to break open. Allen later described that room as tight, suffocating, saying his claustrophobia started kicking in. And that interrogation, it didn't stay hidden either. It ended up online, spreading everywhere. It started like any recorded statement, calm, controlled, official, swearing in, introductions, his lawyer present, everything by the book. But then Sergio got to work. He didn't rush it, didn't yell, didn't push too hard too fast. He went slow and methodical. He started from the beginning, like he was building a puzzle piece by piece. The detective basically told him, let's talk about the case you're under arrest for. Let's talk about the car, the Dodge Journey. And from there, it turned into a slow breakdown. At first, Allen wasn't fully committing. He kept saying things like, I think and I guess, trying to stay vague, trying not to fully lock himself in. But Sergio wasn't letting that slide. He called him out on it again and again. He made it clear, small lies make the big truth look fake. Then he started applying pressure in a smart way, not by shouting, but by reminding Allen of the evidence already stacked against him. He told him straight up that they had fingerprints on the car, that cameras already placed him at the Driftwood Apartments getting into the SUV, that Williams had already told his version of events, basically telling him there's no way out of this. And little by little, Allen started talking for real. He began explaining how Williams organized the rental, how they had to use Tony Robinson's name because the others couldn't. He talked about being at Williams' house before everything, just chilling, watching TV, like it was any normal day. Then he described that moment on Dixie Highway when Williams spotted the BMW and said, "That's him." That one sentence changed everything. Allen confirmed he was told to go inside and verify it, and he did. He even went into detail about the weapons. He explained that Boatwright had a rifle, something small but still deadly. He placed all the guns back at Williams' house before they even moved out, confirming that this wasn't spontaneous. They came prepared. Then came the moment inside the car where Williams was talking about robbing X for his jewelry, chains, bracelets, rings, everything. And Allen made it clear. He told them it was a bad idea, but nobody listened. That's the part that sticks, because it shows there was a chance to stop, but nobody took it. Allen then described the actual move, how they cut off the BMW, how everything played out, and what happened right after.
He talked about going back to his house, the money stacked in piles of $10,000, the split, and the reality slowly hitting during the drive back from Riva. And then there's a moment that really hits different. Alan described himself basically telling the others, "I'm going to jail for the rest of my life." That fear was already there, but instead of panic or regret from the others, they brushed it off. They told him something like, "You'll be all right, nothing's gonna happen to you." That mindset says everything. That interrogation gave investigators the foundation of a confession, but that wasn't enough yet. They needed more. They needed him to stand in court and say it all under oath. And that's where the plea deal came in. On August 12, 2022, Alan pled guilty to second-degree murder and armed robbery with a firearm. In exchange, the first-degree murder, the one that would have locked him up for life, was dropped. But there was a condition. He had to fully cooperate. He had to testify. And he understood exactly what that meant. He would eventually walk free one day. The others wouldn't. When the trial started on February 7, 2023, Alan took the stand the very next day and stayed there for 4 full days. And during that time, he gave prosecutors something they couldn't get from cameras alone. Because cameras can show movement, but they can't explain intent. Alan did. He told the jury exactly who was behind those masks. He broke down the planning inside the car, the decision to wait, and how Williams was basically directing everything from the driver's seat. He described Boatwright and Newsom getting ready, the exact moment they jumped out, how fast it all happened. He placed Boatwright at the driver's side window with the rifle. He described Newsom going for the chain, failing, then switching to the bag. He confirmed that Newsom came back with the money, and then shots were fired for no reason at all. No threat, no resistance, nothing. Alan said it clearly. As the bag was being taken, the shots happened. And he didn't hesitate when naming the shooter. He pointed directly at Michael Boatwright. He said Boatwright fired 2 or 3 times, and that X was sitting on the left side of the vehicle when it happened. That testimony filled in every missing piece, and it sealed it.
I was like in shock. Besides Chucky, he was not in shock. What I said, Chucky wasn't in shock. He didn't really care.
Easiest way to start talking about the case you're under arrest for, which is XXX's case. Let's talk about the car, the Dodge Journey.
So when everything is broken down step by step, Robert Allen said the entire confrontation from the moment they blocked the car to the moment they left lasted about 3 minutes. 3 minutes! That's all it took for everything to go from a robbery to a life being taken. And on the drive away from Riva, that's when reality started creeping in. The group found out that XXXTentacion had died. But instead of panic, instead of silence, Allen said Boatwright turned the music up, like they were trying to drown it out, or maybe just didn't care. Now, once the trial started, the defense teams went straight at Allen. No holding back, no soft questions. They spent days trying to tear him down piece by piece. They labeled him a 12-time felon, called him a career liar, said everything he was doing was just to save himself. And honestly, they didn't just throw that out there, they went deep with it. They accused him of changing his story between his 2018 interrogation and what he was saying in court in 2023, basically saying he was adjusting his version to fit what prosecutors needed to win. Boatwright's lawyer, in particular, went hard on him, pressing him on every tiny inconsistency, every moment he had said, "I think" or "I guess" years earlier, trying to show the jury that this guy couldn't be trusted. But here's the thing, Allen didn't break. He didn't try to act perfect either. He admitted straight up that he wanted a lighter sentence. He admitted he wasn't exactly a reliable person. No fake image, no pretending. But then he said something that stuck. He told the court, "Yeah, I want a lighter sentence, but I also have remorse." And he explained that sitting there, seeing people crying in court, seeing the pain, it affected him. He said he was trying to do what he could to bring justice to X's family, friends, and fans. Now, whether people believe that or not, that's a different story. Because while the defense was attacking his character, the prosecution had something stronger, evidence. And that's where things started getting serious. Every detail Allen gave could be checked, and when investigators checked it, it matched.
DNA found on the black masks used during the robbery traced back directly to Dedrick Williams, and not just loosely. The probability was something insanely rare, like 1 in 831 octillion. That's not guesswork, that's basically impossible odds. Then there was Boatwright's DNA on another mask, with odds even crazier, 1 in 929 nonillion. Numbers so big they don't even sound real. That analysis came from forensic expert Nicole Aunot from the Broward County Crime Lab, and it didn't stop there. Boatwright's phone data placed him at Riva at the exact time of the incident. His phone was also connected via Bluetooth to the rented Dodge Journey. Then, investigators found a box of .22 caliber bullets at his house, and guess what? It was missing exactly 4 rounds, the same number of shots fired. Another bullet of the same type was found at Williams's place. And then came fingerprints. Boatwright's fingerprints were recovered from the driver's side door of X's BMW, right where Allen said he was standing. Even his phone searches made things worse. After everything happened, he had looked up both X's name and accessory to murder. That's not a coincidence. Then another witness came in and added even more weight. Williams's girlfriend at the time, Tanell Carter, testified separately. She told the jury that Williams had confessed to her directly, said he admitted organizing the whole thing, and it gets worse. She said he tried to get her to sign a false statement saying he wasn't the driver, but she refused. Then there was tension inside the jail itself. During the trial, a Broward sheriff's deputy witnessed Trayvon Newsom yelling at Allen in transport, calling him a snitch, a sellout, accusing him of working with authorities. Allen later testified about that moment, and it became one of the most talked about parts of the trial. At the same time, the defense tried to throw in a completely different angle. They attempted to bring up a conspiracy theory involving Drake, pointing to an old feud between him and X as a possible motive, but investigators shut that down fast. Witnesses dismissed it, and Allen made it clear this wasn't orchestrated by anyone else. No big mastermind, no outside influence, just a robbery that turned deadly. When it came time for the jury to decide, things weren't quick at all. They actually had to review nearly 1,200 messages from the defendants' phones. That shows how deep they were going into every detail. The jury deliberated for over 28 hours across 8 days, long enough for people outside to start thinking maybe they couldn't reach a decision. Because this wasn't simple. There were 3 defendants, 3 defense teams, and a massive amount of evidence. It wasn't one story, it was layers of stories, all tangled together, and the jury had to go through it, piece by piece, until everything finally made sense.
Right. What kind of gun did Boatwright have?
Something like small, real small.
Okay, well, like that, like a rifle or a handgun?
Rifle.
And what happens is when they see him?
Check your cuts and
So when the jury asked to go through nearly 1,200 text messages, that alone took hours. That's not something you skim through. That's something you sit with, analyze, and really break down piece by piece. And those long deliberations, that wasn't weakness. That was the jury taking this seriously, making sure every single detail lined up before making a decision. Then finally, March 20th, 2023. The courtroom goes quiet, everyone waiting, and the jury walks back in. And just like that, the verdict drops. Guilty. Not one charge, not 2, all counts. First-degree murder, armed robbery with a firearm, everything. All 3 defendants, Michael Boatwright, Trayvon Newsom, and Dedrick Williams, found guilty across the board. And right when you think it couldn't get more shocking, it does. Because as the verdict was being read, Michael Boatwright turned toward the family of XXXTentacion and blew them a kiss. Yeah, in that moment, that one move alone said everything about his mindset. Then came sentencing day, April 6th, 2023. 3 men standing in front of Judge Michael A. Usen, waiting to hear how much of their lives they had left outside of prison, and the answer turned out to be the same for all of them. None. For Trayvon Newsom and Dedrick Williams, the sentence was life in prison without parole. No deals, no reductions, no second chances. Just straight life. Locked in, no way out. And it was delivered calmly, almost routine, like the outcome had already been written long before that moment. But for Michael Boatwright, the actual guy who fired the shots, it was even heavier. He didn't just get one life sentence, he got 2 consecutive life sentences plus an additional 30 years, stacked, meaning if one life sentence wasn't enough, the next one was waiting. And then Judge Usen looked straight at him, and what he said hit hard. He told him, "You turned a robbery into a murder." And he didn't stop there. He explained that in that moment, when Boatwright pulled that trigger, he didn't just take one life, he destroyed multiple lives, including his own. Then he painted the reality of what his future would look like: a prison cell with a stainless steel slab attached to the wall as a bed, a steel sink, a steel toilet, and that's it. And one day, they'll open that cell and he'll be gone. And only then will his sentence be complete. That's how final it was. And the craziest part? Boatwright sat there through all of it and showed nothing, no emotion, nothing, just cold. Then about 6 weeks later, May 17, 2023, Robert Allen walked into that same courtroom for his own sentencing, and this time, the tone was completely different. Because unlike the other 3, Allen actually spoke with some level of accountability. He didn't dodge it, didn't act tough, he addressed it directly. He told the judge, "If I have to die in prison, then so be it. I know the risk I was taking. Let justice be served. Please forgive me." That's something the other 3 never really gave. The judge even pointed that out. He said Allen showed what he believed was genuine remorse, something clearly missing from the others. But it wasn't just words. The court also considered what Allen had done beyond this case. He had helped investigators in another unrelated case involving a gang-related situation, given information that helped move things forward. And by doing that, he actually put himself at risk. That cooperation mattered. And here's another key detail. Before finalizing the deal, X's family was consulted, and they accepted it. That's huge, because it means even they understood the role Allen played in helping bring the full truth out. So when the sentence came down, it was 7 years in prison. But here's where it shifts. He had already served about 7 years, 9 months, and 21 days while waiting for trial. So when you do the math, he only had around 2 years left, which basically meant most of his sentence had already been done. And that waiting period, that counted as time served. So then, October 26, 2023, Robert Allen walked out of prison. But that doesn't mean freedom like normal, not even close. He walked into 20 years of probation, a sealed home address, meaning his location is protected, weekly phone check-ins with a probation officer, mandatory in-person meetings every 6 weeks, and a strict court order, no contact whatsoever with X's family. So yeah, he's out, but he's still being watched, still tied to what happened, still living with it every single day.
So you guys had to talk about something.
It was basically me talking to them. I was just, I'm gonna go to jail for the rest of my life. They're like, you'll be all right. It's not gonna happen to you.
So after everything, Robert Allen wasn't allowed to just come out and tell his story publicly. He wasn't allowed to turn himself into a public figure, not allowed to go online and explain his side, not allowed to reshape the narrative. The court made that clear. He was not supposed to become a story. And for a while, he didn't. The world slowly moved on, people stopped talking about it every day, and the case faded out of headlines. It became one of those stories people remember, but don't constantly revisit. Until October 2024, because from inside Martin Correctional Institution in Florida, the man who actually pulled the trigger, Michael Boatwright, found a way to get access to a phone, and not just for calls, he got on Instagram. And what he posted, it wasn't regret, it wasn't reflection, it wasn't even silence. It was the same energy he had shown from day one. He posted straight up, "I'm not sorry for nothing I did," and then tried to soften it by saying he wasn't an evil person. But by then, it didn't matter. That post spread instantly. Screenshots everywhere, videos everywhere, people reposting it across YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all of it. And just like that, the whole case came back to life online. XXXTentacion's mother responded publicly. Fans who had followed everything since 2018 saw it and felt it all over again. And then there were people who had never even heard of Boatwright before, now seeing him for the first time. And the irony? It hit hard, because this was the same man whose own phone had already exposed him through searches, location data, Bluetooth connections to the getaway car, all of it. And now, once again, he was using a phone to show the world exactly who he was, this time from inside a prison cell.
Then, just 1 month later, another move. In November 2024, Dedrick Williams' legal team filed an appeal, and instead of new evidence, they went back to an old angle. They tried to bring Drake up again, pointing to that old public tension between Drake and X, trying to suggest that maybe there was something deeper there, something that could create doubt. They referenced social media posts, old history, old narratives, but here's the reality. Drake had already been pulled into the case during the original trial. He had already been subpoenaed and then dismissed. Investigators had already looked into that angle and shut it down completely. And most importantly, Robert Allen had already said under oath that no one outside that car was involved. No outside setup, no celebrity mastermind, nothing. Just 4 guys making a decision that turned deadly. And that appeal? It didn't go anywhere. No new evidence, no new breakthroughs, nothing. As of early 2026, the convictions still stand, the sentences still stand, nothing has changed. Boatwright's own appeal was also denied in 2025. The court rejected every argument about separating trials, about the strength of the evidence, all of it. So legally, the case is closed. But life after that verdict looks very different depending on who you are. Because while 3 of them are sitting in cells for the rest of their lives, Robert Allen is out there living a completely different reality. By September 2025, he was granted permission to travel across the United States for work. He became a licensed CDL truck driver, moving across states, staying on the road. His address is still sealed. His probation is still active. He checks in weekly, meets in person every 6 weeks, and so far, no violations, no new charges, nothing. So right now, somewhere in the US, he's driving, working, living under supervision until 2043. And then March 2026 hits, and the story goes viral all over again. But this time, nothing new even happened. It was just the internet rediscovering it. Old mugshots, old clips, old headlines being reposted across Facebook, Instagram, Threads, all with titles like XXXTentacion murder suspect released after 5 years. Some posts even claimed it just happened in 2025, but that wasn't true. Allen had already been released back in October 2023, almost 2 years earlier. So the timeline was wrong, but the reaction? That was real. Because the question people kept asking wasn't about dates, it was about justice. Was what Allen got actually fair? And that's where everything splits. Because legally, the answer is clear. The prosecution explained it perfectly. Lead prosecutor Pascal Achille said it straight. Plans hatched in hell do not have angels as witnesses. Meaning, if you want to prove what happened, you need someone from inside that situation to talk. Without Allen, the masks might have stayed anonymous, the roles might have stayed unclear, and those 3 men might never have gotten the sentences they did. So from that perspective, the deal made sense. But from a human perspective, it hits different. Because when you break it down, XXXTentacion was just 20 years old. He went to buy a motorcycle with money he legally took out of his own bank account. 4 men spotted him, confirmed it was him, bought masks right there, waited 8 minutes and 35 seconds, blocked his car, robbed him at gunpoint, and then shot him 3 times after the robbery was already over. And now, one of those 4 men, the one who said this is a bad idea but still went along with it, is out there driving trucks across the country, while the other 3, they're going to die in prison cells with nothing but steel beds and time. Allen broke his silence in that interrogation room. He broke it again in court and one last time at sentencing when he showed remorse. The other 3, they stayed silent, denied everything, showed nothing, even after the verdict, even after sentencing, even after everything. And now, they're living with that silence forever. So in the end, that's really what this story comes down to. What speaking cost 1 man, and what staying silent cost everyone else. And if this story got you thinking, if it made you see things differently or question what justice really looks like, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what you think about this case.